Hey guys, good morning. Okay, so I was looking at this new Marilyn Monroe Declassified. It's on YouTube Movies, Declassified FBI and CIA Documents. Help director Paul Davids unravel the puzzle of Marilyn Monroe's demise. Right? First, it was ruled a probable suicide, while providing detailed evidence supporting the conclusion that Marilyn was murdered. Okay, I think it's pretty interesting in terms of how I look at these, the lens that I look at this stuff with like, it has so many different, coded messages in this. I think you guys should all look at it. It's interesting, because they're talking about places, names, and figures. The Holly Grove Orphanage, H-O. So, basically, it's about Marilyn Monroe, and what I've long suspected is that Marilyn actually worked with the people, in the FBI and CIA. But what they're talking about in this is the reason it's so interesting is they are saying that there is a faction of LA County that works directly with the FBI. They have an FBI function, right? LA County, LA Sheriff's, LA City, an FBI function, meaning if there's something they want to cover up, with the help of the FBI, it's pretty easy to do, right? So, so when I was looking at this, they're showing a couple of scenes I didn't. I mean, I'm sure I saw all these scenes before, but there's interviews in it, and it's just very interesting. So this is pretty interesting. Because I have these documents from the Gettys that go through the Fowler Museum of how they sell people as real property, right? They call it a Nazi Batwing ship, and they call the people Horton Ho, H-O. So they're showing that she was born, but they're showing it in a probate. It's a probate document. They said she was an illegitimate birth. And that is very weird, that they're showing it in a probate ledger, right? So I thought that was pretty weird. Let me see. And then she stays at the Holly Grove. Let me see if I can find this part. So up at the top of this ledger, it says probate. Okay, so that's just something, you guys, that is odd. So any of you who haven't had rights, I kind of figured out what my mom did. There's a place called Elson Alexander, and it's connected to hundreds of clubs. So you go and you get a proof of photo with Elson Alexander, which I did with my mother, that is then released through the clubs, a vision of your face, so that they won't hire you anywhere. And if you change your appearance enough, maybe they could decide it's not you. But, I mean, there's hundreds of clubs all over the United States, probably worldwide too, preventing you from working. So those of you who have been targeted in these ways, I just want to tell you, I kind of figured it out over the weekend, and I'll show you that in a minute. But let's go back to this. So
Gladys Baker was uncertain of who the father was. On her birth certificate, Marilyn was Norma Jean Mortensen, but she grew up as Norma Jean Baker.
Did you see how it said minor right there? I mean, these documents are pretty incredible.
The thing she didn't have is a permanent home, and she didn't have a permanent family because her mother was her only family, and her mother, unfortunately, was committed to it.
So, when it says committed, you know, a committed might mean she's locked up, but it also might mean she's committed. You know, like, the government uses the word commitment, like their commitment to environmental safety and environmental justice, right? Their commitment causes them to do torture to other people, right?
An institution for most of Marilyn's early life. So she really never had a real mother, but she certainly had some, I think, fairly wonderful foster mothers that really did care. They weren't horror stories. So she had a good upbringing, but I suspect even that isn't quite the same as having your own real family.
This is weird, too.
Tropical heat wave.
And that's the first image, oddly enough, I remember seeing of Marilyn Monroe myself. They used to have this thing on NBC called NBC Saturday Night at the Movies. And when I was a kid, I would watch that. And they ran a lot of Marilyn's movies on that. They would buy them up for national television.
Tropical.
I want you to see this guy. He's got a memorabilia.
$2 million.
Okay, this guy. Right?
Dress gets blown up on the streets there in New York.
Oh, here comes another one.
When the movie opened, they had this gigantic blow up of it above the theater. That was in the days when they really knew how to sell movies.
Basically, we sold that dress for $5.52 million, which shatters the world record.
Say that again?
$5.52 million. You know, it shatters any previous Hollywood costume record by any measure.
Now, I got to find what that place is selling that dress. It has a weird name that we've been looking at. You know, we look at these names over and over again, and when I saw this one, I was like, oh, that's important, but now I can't find it, so give me a second, hold on. Okay, here it is. It's called Auction House Profiles in History. And why is that important? I've tried to explain that, you know, when they injure your profile, the way your face looks, you know, in these plastic surgery clinics, they call it profiling, profiles, right? Profiles in history. So there's profiles in history, and later there's something called the messenger. And I can't remember what the messenger is. I think it's this. The messenger who has, you know, these photos of her. Hang on a second.
Glass framed photo of Marilyn popped on the floor, broken.
My name is Al Babbitt. I am the owner of the Messenger Art Collection.
Okay, so Messenger Art Collection. Okay, that's MAC. Okay, remember, like, MAC makeup, we've got sex, age, and location. Now, I told you how to figure this out with the, you know, the things, how they, you know, do the flashback technology, where what they do is they injure you, and then they flash back to all the people that conspired against you throughout your life, right? And then those people are how they hide the records of who was involved. Like the Jeff Goldblums, who were your acting teacher, or the, you know, like all the people where you were invited to meet Irv Schechter at a literary agency. And you're really being screened for slavery and for a breeding program where they're depriving you of any right to work. And the way they're depriving you of any right to work is through these places. This is Messenger Art Collection. And then this other one is Profiles, right? So those things are like, if you have, I mean, it's hard because you have to go to Rhode Island, you know, online and find out if you've been bankrupted. Like, my parents bankrupted me through Rhode Island, hidden in Maryland in like, you know, a long time ago. And then they released my image as like proof of life through this weird photographer, Elson Alexander. And then that was connected to a bunch of clubs. So you've got my mother smiling with me smiling. And then it's connected to these clubs. And the clubs are how the FBI or the CIA keeps their hands clean. It's not actually the FBI or CIA that's depriving your rights. It's actually your mother releasing you through this club network so that nobody will hire you, to keep you as a slave. But anyway, profile and messenger art collection. Remember, MAC is also a makeup line. I believe that MAC is from this. Messenger art collection. I mean, we could just look it up if you want. Messenger art collection. Let's see who owns it. John Boyden. In 1786, right? So who owns it now? Sue Roderick. Okay. It also says Sean Messenger is an owner of it. The Messenger, don't shoot the Messenger. I'm telling you, this is important. The Messenger art collection is important. The other thing that's important is the profiles. Profiles. It's a device policy client app. Profiles in history. Profiles in history owner. And then we got Playboy, of course. Judith Madalena. Authentic and original collectibles. Now remember, bones, eggs, all of that is considered collectible cultural objects, including Hollywood memorabilia. So this is like kind of weird. ABC's Lost. The auction in-depth interview with Joe Madalena. Guillermo del Toro. It's pretty interesting. And here it says, as a longtime buyer and seller of screen used items with profiles in history, I highly recommend them for all your prop needs. For selling, now prop can also be Prop 65, where they steal your eggs and they steal your genetic materials. You have to think of prop as, prop house is also propositions, right? For selling profiles, has the best worldwide clients in the marketplace for their offerings. Okay, this is all human slavery. So when you look back at this thing that I've been showing you with Marilyn, I also found this with Evergreen Printing. Evergreen is, we know who Evergreen is. I'm not going to say the word, but it shows, Shopaholic goes through Marlboro. I mean, that's the Philip Morris. And you just keep going down. This is United States Mailing Group Summary. And so it's showing you how they sell people as real property. And you would have to kind of know how to look at this. But this new documentary on Marilyn Monroe has all kinds of that. So the United States Postal Office, it says copyright, all rights reserved. Right? They're claiming the rights to the objects that they're selling and they're printing right here, all rights reserved. You can't steal rights of the American people, but they are. And they are claiming a copyright even when you own the copyright, right? Even when you're born and you fix a piece of art in a tangible form of expression that can be copywritten, they still steal the copyright. The federal government's doing it, you guys. I mean, it's not like that's why people can't advance their cases. I mean, you can look at the Nicole Kellys and Karen Tuckers of the world and, the FBI agents that were tracking me and trying to, write with me. You can look at all that, but it's still the federal government right here. So, Anyway, there's a lot more, but that's all for now.